Today we're going to show you how to change the upper discharge housing gasket on your dishwasher. It's a really easy job. All we're going to need is a number 20 Torx bit and maybe a small flat blade screwdriver. Let me show you how we do it. Now the next step in this repair will be to open the door and remove the lower rack. We'll just set that aside. Next we'll remove the lower spray arm. There's a center retaining nut there. It's about 2 inches in diameter. Just unthread that. Lift the spray arm off, set that aside. Now with our number 20 Torx bit, we'll remove the 6 screws that hold the pump cover on. Now we can just lift that pump cover off. There will be a couple of these little split rings that sit inside the opening at the top. So make sure that we retain those. Next, we just lift off the backwash arm, set that aside. Now we have access to 3 screws that will remove the discharge cover. Now with those 3 screws removed, we can lift off the discharge cover. Now with the discharge cover removed, we can take our flat blade screwdriver, go into that opening, just push that gasket until we can pop up one of the edges. And then just peel that gasket out of the groove. And we'll make sure that there's no crud in there that is going to restrict the fit of the new gasket. Now the gasket is a square gasket, so when we put it in, we want to make sure that we don't get any twists in it. Now with our flat blade screwdriver, we'll just tamp that down into place. Again, make sure that there's no twists in it. Now we're ready to reinstall the discharge cover. And there are 3 little notches on that discharge cover that will line up with appropriate notches on the base of it. And we'll reinstall the 3 5/16 screws. We'll put all 3 of them in before we tighten any of them. Next we'll reinstall the filter, remove any articles that are adhered to the outside of that. And that will snap down into a little groove in the base. On the backwash arm, we'll look at the slotted openings around the edge. And if there's anything jammed in those, we should peel that out. It has 2 flat sides on the top of that that will line up with the spray arm bearing. Make sure it turns freely. Next we'll install the pump cover. Put those 6 Torx head screws in place. Won't tighten any of them until we have them all in. Now before we tighten those up, again we want to make sure that the lower spray arm bearing turns freely. Make sure that the center spray nozzle is in place. Now it's important that we put these 2 split rings back in. Insert them so that the splits are opposite each other. We'll just set those down into the opening around the spray arm bearing. And our bottom spray arm again has 2 flat sides to it that will line up with the bearing. And tighten the retaining nut. And reinstall the lower rack. And our repair is complete.